Finally back for another episode of Sunday Sickos, the show that we try to do every Sunday morning, except the mornings after I shatter my 32-inch monitor that I had to replace. But let's get it.
3, 2, 1, liftoff.
All right. I have to switch mics. Of course. We should be fine now, though. God damn. Things just don't seem to go right when you want them to go right. Anyways, we are back for a Sunday Sickos. Today, I am excited. I am behind in my Best Ball Mania drafts. So we're going to be doing a Best Ball Mania today. I think I've only done 26 so far of the BBMs. So I'm trying to make sure that I catch up on that. Good morning, Shuby. I was doing a lot of the DraftKings throughout the last month or so with the promos that they ran in May. I had a ton of DK crowns that I was just using to enter the $20 contest. So I had a lot of technically, I mean, as free as they can be entries into that contest. You know what I mean? So we were firing DK, and then I had to make sure that I started firing that Drafters $2 tournament, because let's just take a peek real quick at that Drafters tournament. The $2 one is filling up really, really fast. So it is a tournament for 56,000 people. There's already 35,000 entries. So I've kind of tiered this to where I'm doing all slow drafts on that particular tournament. And right when it hits about that 40,000 mark, I have about 75 or a little more than that entries in it. So when it hits that 40K mark, I'm going to jump in another 35. And then when it hits the 50K, I'm going to drop into another 35 slows on that as well. So I've been behind essentially on Best Ball Mania, and they keep dropping these fun tournaments. So there's give and take. I need to make sure I fired the Dalmatians. I'm going to be doing that. Good morning, Vaporware. So just time management for best ball tournaments has been a thing over the last month, but I want to be at 50 BBMs by the end of June, 100 by the end of July, and then 150 by the time the tournament closes. Obviously, I think I'm trying to stick to 100 on the flagship for DK, their $20 tournament. I'm going to be around 100 entries for that. And I probably want to max the Drafters tournament. So there's probably going to be more slows in my future on Drafters as well. So just trying to make a plan to attack. So that means that when they drop these tournaments, like I fired a couple of these show hour twos and I like the structure and the format, but you know, there's no slows in that. So right now I'm not going to max it. I can't imagine maxing. It's already about halfway full. I think I have 3 or 4 entries. You get $300 back if you max DK. Well, maybe I have to. We'll see. Big Dog. I need to get my... Oh, not Big Dog. Sorry, the Dalmatian. I need to make sure I max the Dalmatian, because there's a 3 max for that. That's what I got to make sure I get. I don't know if I'm going to do a Mastiff this year. I don't hate the changes they made to the format, but I really liked the way it was formatted for the $1,000 entry last year. I thought it was unique, different, still 20K for first. They've really changed the format. So if you're unfamiliar with it, look into it, because it went from 6 out of 12 to 4 out of 12. But anyways, why don't we jump into a draft and we can talk about all this while we're drafting. So let's jump into a BBM. I'll update the screen in a second, make it more palatable to look at. Couldn't do the show last week because I bought a new stand. Wow, this one's already filled. So I don't know if anyone's actually going to get into this one. And we're drafting at the 112, which is fine. All right, what do we want to do for review here? Feels like this is the one. That feels like the good one. So what's up, Adam? Nick, Zach, if I haven't said hello to you, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's get some music. number 112. It's cool because we can find it. So right now, it's all about making sure that I can get the right? So that's what we are focused on. So I'll add some of the other ones. I still haven't made all single entries on DK that I want to hit. There's still plenty of those that I need to do. So just keeping an eye on all of that. What's going on, Al? Good morning. Good morning, Versier. Versier, we were in a draft this morning, right? Together, I believe. Believe you did off the top of my head, you did a fun Tampa double stack in that draft. I was experimenting with some stuff in that particular draft and kind of thought of some stuff that I'd like to look into because I drafted Lamar with Jaden Daniels, who both have week 14 buys. And I don't need to because this is not my expertise, but I would love for someone to go through the BBM data for last year, maybe the year before, and look at 2 top 16 draft picks at the quarterback position with the same bye week and see if they averaged a point above the rest of the field, drafting like an elite quarterback with a quarterback 17 and beyond that didn't have the same bye week. And I'm probably rambling and not making sense, but I know what I'm trying to say in my head here because I want to see if they average an extra point a week or so, because then although you're like taking a 0, it doesn't matter as much because you're replacing those points throughout the first 13 weeks or what the other 13 weeks that you're drafting. So does it make a big difference in the grand scheme of things or not? You guys want to get fun here? So I want to draft Olave and I want to see. So we see that I have a ton of Olave, right? But I don't have, and I have a ton of Nico, but I don't have them together. So I think this is a good time to get an Olave Nico pairing. And that's something I've been wanting to do. So let's get an Olave Nico pairing for this particular team. How many drafts do I have slated for today? I was only planning on one, but if we get through this quick enough, then maybe we'll do another one. If that's what people want, maybe we'll do another BBM. Since I'm trying to catch up anyways. So we did the Olave Nico start. It's the start that I've been wanting to make sure that I get 2 players. Those are my 2 favorite second round wide receivers right now. And I just wanted to make sure I pulled Olave up or, whichever one, doesn't matter, whoever you want to say, at the turn here and get a pairing of those 2. And I'm fine. I mean, I'm going to have a ton of Drake London. I'll have Marvin Harrison. So just making sure I get a pairing of 2 guys I like a few times is something I want to make sure I'm doing. Fair enough. Totally understand not being a Nico or Olave guy, Adam. Those are just my particular 2 favorite 2 favorite wide receivers in a tier that just, you can reach into a bag and grab whoever you want out of this one and tell yourself a story about any of them, essentially. Been flirting with some other stuff in these BBMs right now and other tournaments. I'm trying to do can I sell you on them? Look at Nico's production last year with CJ Stroud. He's most likely going to be their number 1 option on that offense. I can't imagine Tank or Stephon Diggs overtaking him for that number 1 spot. They've committed to him. He's on one of the best offenses in the league. And I know that Olave isn't on one of the best offenses in the league, but look at that team. He's going to have targets funneled to him by Derek Carr, just like last year wasn't as great a year as we wanted, but it's still going to be it's still going to be a high production year for him in New Orleans. We're starting to see the Kamara cracks right now. They're going to probably not be a great team and have to throw a ton. And it's not like you're getting any scrambling from Derek Carr. So he is just going to sit in the pocket. He targets Olave at a decent clip, and they play in domes for the majority of the season. So you get that added benefit with Chris Olave that the majority of his games are dome games, which is nice. So what I've been flirting with a little bit is pulling Achane up into the second round, pairing him with Kyron with an elite wide receiver, or sometimes with Bijan or Brees to do a hyper fragile start with those particular pairings, because I think we'll continue this discussion after we make our next two picks and see what we want to do here. I think I want to take T for sure. Let's take T and let's see what kind of Josh Allen team we can build. I only have 4% Josh Allen for this tourney right now. I do have him with Olave already, but that's fine. I want to see what I can do with the Josh Allen team from the 4th round pick here. Adam, I don't think. I mean, Adam saying he thinks he sees Diggs ahead of targets over Nico, and I just personally can't see it. I still like Diggs as a pick, but I can't imagine that Diggs is going to have more targets than Nico. I think the fight for Diggs is to be the second option over Tank Dell right now. I think Nico is clear. Like, I guess clearly is not the right word, but if I had to bet on anyone, it's just this is Nico's team, in my opinion. I think Tank Dell is going to have like the spike, like the spike of spike weeks maybe, but Nico is just such a monster, man. Go back and look at some of his stuff from last year. I think we're forgetting or just don't realize how good he was throughout pretty much the entire season. Nico was a beast last year. We are ready for best ball. Have I tried the Olave Devontae start? I have not, because I have 0% Devontae Adams. Don't tell anybody. I don't want to hear about it this year, but I'm not drafting Devontae Adams again at the moment. So no Olave Devontae start for me currently. Just a fade I'm fine with in the second round. There's certain fades that I'm just going to live with this year in certain spots. And because I like all these other guys over Devontae Adams this year, like I like Waddle, Debo, Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk. Mike Evans is close, but he falls more, so I can get more Mike Evans than Devontae. But I just like a lot of these guys over Devontae Adams. So in order to get overweight, sometimes we have to sacrifice certain players if that's what we want to do. Everybody's different. Everybody has different ideas on how to do that. You'll see these discussions throughout the year in the Spike Week Discord. The one that was happening the other day was people were talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, who I'm going to be underweight on just because in this range, I want Jamar, Jefferson, Bijan, Brees a little bit over him. So that is something that I just I'm fine with. And if I get beat by Amon-Ra St. Brown, it won't surprise me. But I'm just like, whatever. He could be Al. I mean, the flip side, if we want to play devil's advocate, Al's saying that Tank could be a top 5 to 10 wide receiver in the league talent-wise. Definitely could be. I think it leans more to him being talented than not, but the flip side is that was an anomaly year. What top 5 are we? Oh, to the Tank Dell thing. I don't think he is, but he could have that talent. But yes, this is the point I'm making. Well, if Tank Dell's Will Fuller had like multiple good seasons before he just disappeared from the earth, and we're not sure if he's a real person. Yeah, that the 102 is just straight wide receivers with CD, Devonta Adams, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen. So they went heavy at wide receiver. Well, let me get my 2 picks in, and then we can have this discussion. Ooh, Jaden Reed goes. What do we want to do here? Let's grab Kyle Pitts. Get ourselves an elite tight end. And let's get the Keon Coleman stack with... Let's do Keon Coleman with Josh Allen. Draft landscape is much different now than when Will Fuller was getting drafted. And I guarantee if we just picked up and dropped the whole draft from 2018, 2019, is that the Will Fuller years, and put it in 2024, that landscape would be completely different. There's nothing wrong with this, Adam. Adam's saying he views Diggs and Nico very similar, so I take the cheaper one. Sure, I can see that point of view. I would just open your perspective to, they traded for Stephon Diggs. They just gave Nico a massive contract extension. They like Nico. CJ Stroud has chemistry with Nico. We understand what that is. Stephon Diggs is getting older. Nico is in his prime years. I think that we sometimes hold on to the past with players, and I'm still drafting Diggs, but I think if we're 1-for-1ing, Nico is a better bet this year. What am I drafting? This is a Best Ball Mania team. I'm not even gonna start the Curtis Samuel discourse this morning. Mr. Popinski from Punch Out, thank you for joining us, is in the chat saying one of those 30 plus years old. So I'm still drafting Diggs. I'm drafting all 3 of the wide receivers from Houston. My Nico exposure is just going to be higher than any of them. Got some albatross talk going on in the chat for golf today. Unfortunately, I cannot help you with that. But if you want to talk about Polish table tennis, I have been betting on Polish table tennis for the past week. So that's not fun, actually. It's something I've been doing, though. Versier would rather pair Nico and Tank for the maximum upside. Sure, I that's my preferred pairing, but I do want them both with Diggs as well, here and there. I understand Diggs' age not scaring you, and it's a small outlier, but look at his production at the end of last season. And Buffalo willing to depart with him. Now, some of that might be personality driven as well on his part. But I'm not trying to take an anti-dig stand at all because I'm drafting Diggs. So I hope that's not what it's coming off as. My preference is Nico over Diggs. We are coming back up on the clock. And this is where a wide receiver really starts to drop off. Let's grab Aaron Jones. And do we just keep up our massive Ramondre? Oh man, I almost thought I had 33% of Zamir White in this tournament, and I was like, that can't be right. That has to be wrong. We have no Najee on BBM teams. Interesting. Let's grab Jonathan Brooks because I am a little concerned. As much as I'd rather have Ramondre or even Swift and Warren, I want to start getting more Brooks because I just feel like once he starts doing something in preseason, he's going to go up. Yeah, we have to look back at the year before, but also try to project forward. So it's like one of those balancing acts of trying to figure out how much do I take into account of last year. We don't have any sample size of Diggs with Houston. So all that fun stuff. If you guys haven't seen it yet, head over to Twitter at some point today, look at my feed, and look at the Drake May tool that I helped invent. Wink, wink. It was a fun video to make. Really enjoyed doing that one. Yeah, this 102 is having a fun start. They went CD, Devontae Adams, Smith, McLaurin, Keenan Allen. They get Rashad White as their first RB in round 6. They get Jake Ferguson. They grab Dak Prescott for the double stack here. So that is pretty fun start. And drafters is, they double tap QB and grab Jaden Daniels as well. That's fun. Just trying to check on something on DraftKings real quick. All right, we are back on the clock in a second here. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened in Buffalo last year, and I have my concerns about Buffalo as a whole this year in general. So that's why even though we're doing a Josh Allen team right now, I can't imagine myself being much more than 8% on Josh Allen this year, to be completely honest. Our receivers. Okay. All right, so we have Kyle Pitts. I have been trying to get my Brian Robinson exposure up a little bit. So I think I want to grab Brian Robinson. So we're going to grab him, and We will also... I'm going to grab Wicks because I can't stop clicking Dontavian Wicks. So we're going to grab Wicks right here. Pius is saying he's also low on Allen, not just because I don't like his pass catching options, but it's nearly impossible to stack him. Well, I think it's tough to stack him with the guys that I would like to stack him with, which is Kincaid and also Keon Coleman, which you have to pull up a little bit sometimes to get him. I don't think he's tough to stack. I just don't like Curtis Samuel or Shakir at the cost that they're at. So if that's what you're implying, totally understand that. I don't mind grabbing one of his later options here and there as well. So I don't think it's impossible. I think it makes our stomach turn a little bit is more the appropriate response on that. James is saying there are two defined schools of thought on Brooks. One says he's a rookie coming off an ACL on a bad team. The other says he's at least as talented a prospect that Bijan was going 8 rounds later. And yeah, I don't think he was quite the prospect Bijan was. But to your point, he was like the best prospect in this particular class. So I'll take my shots on him. I want to be slightly overweight on him. Carolina's been interesting in general. I've just been trying to figure out how to play Carolina because I think another team that makes my stomach turn is the Carolina Panthers. But I think there's some upside. It makes me want to vomit. I think there's some upside to drafting a pass catcher or two on some teams. I don't want to be crazy overweight on it, but I think we're falling in love with a lot of the late round quarterbacks like a Bo Nix, a JJ McCarthy, Drake May, as we mentioned before. And I think we're overlooking Bryce Young, and he's just going to start the whole season. We just don't think that they're any good overall, but as long as he's healthy, no one's going to supplant Bryce Young. He had to be abysmal, which I guess is kind of an option for him. So I'm taking some Bryce Young and holding back vomit here and there, but it's a team I've been trying to learn how to play through. So we're going to hope that they take a step forward. So I've been forcing myself to take some like Xavier Leggett to make sure that I can get Bryce Young stacks that way. Some of the cheaper ones with Jatavian Sanders, that type of stuff, as like a cheap option for some of the quarterbacks that I want to do, some of the teams that I want to stack with him. So those have been things I've been attempting. I know it doesn't look like I've been doing it in this particular tournament, but I started doing it a lot in the $2 drafters tournament. I did want Brown there. That was kind of where I was leaning on going. But we're going to grab a couple guys here. Let's grab Xavier Leggett. And let's grab Kendre Miller. I've been drafting him, but he's going to start going up on boards, I believe. So I think we want to grab Kendre Miller here while we can. So we're going to grab those two players. Miller goes with our Olave stack. So we're cool with that. Some Sam Darnold chat going on in the chat. I have seen people drafting Sam Darnold. I haven't done it yet. Maybe on drafters I'll do some Sam Darnold. I think that probably one of the overlooked things on drafters is some of these quarterbacks that you're going to get at the beginning of the season. So maybe some Sam Darnold, some Jacoby Brissett for sure are people that we should probably be taking a couple sprinkles on throughout on cumulative scoring, because week 1 matters just as much as week 17. We're looking for longevity. So if we get 7-8 weeks, maybe it's 3 quarterback builds with guys like that. But those are things that we should probably be thinking through that I don't think we talk about enough when we're talking about cumulative scoring. But I can't pull the trigger on Darnold on like a BBM team, on an 18-round team. Maybe it's a little more palatable over on DraftKings, but it's going to be tougher to do here. It's really going to depend in terms of how long Darnold stays a starter, if he even starts as a starter. It's probably going to depend on how they're looking in the playoff picture, which you could make arguments like Detroit is obviously the class of the division right now. Chicago looks like they should take a step up, but we're not 100% sure that's going to happen. Green Bay should be relatively good. So Minnesota has the potential to just be out of it early, right? They could just be one of those teams that they might look decent, but because of the division they're in, could just be on the outside looking in by week 7, maybe. They start like 2-5, and the other 3 teams are all sitting there with winning records. So do you guys think I think the Blake Corum price is silly, personally. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of Blake Corum. I just don't like the price with some of the options around him. We have JJ McCarthy wars breaking out in the chat. So something I can see sort of both sides on, but I just think if we step back and look, Minnesota's probably not going to be great overall. Could surprise us. And I'm talking about in terms of win-loss records. They could have a good offense, but I just don't think Minnesota is going to be there. And I think that becomes a call to get McCarthy some reps this season. All right, so we're on a 1-4-6-1 build right now. Things are getting ugly. Things are getting dire. We are on the clock in a second here. I don't have a lot of Kirk Cousins. We have Kyle Pitts. Let's do a Kirk Cousins team. I don't even have him like with all that percentage you saw of Olave. I don't even have him with any of my first few picks. Let's do a Cousins stack with Kyle Pitts and kind of opens us up for either Algier or Ray Davis. Let's do Ray Davis. Or, yeah, let's do Ray Davis. do this. Do a fun little Buffalo thing here. We might do something a little wild with Buffalo overall. So, team right now: Olave, Nico, T. Higgins, Josh Allen, Kyle Pitts, Keon Coleman, Aaron Jones, Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson, Dontavian Wicks, Xavier Leggett, Kendre Miller, Kirk Cousins, and Ray Davis. So I kind of have some picks envisioned that I'd like to make for this team in the next few rounds, but I'm not beholden to anything. Kevin's a Jets fan, and he still has PTSD from Darnold's seeing ghost game against the Patriots. One of my favorite lines ever uttered in a professional football game is a quarterback saying that he's seeing ghosts. All right. Anyone doing anything fun for Father's Day today? Happy Father's Day to the fathers, by the way. I don't remember if I said that at the beginning of the show, but happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Zach saying Darnold out here validating my side gig. Hey, man, that side gig is going quite well, is what I will say. We are doing some fun things with that particular side gig. We have our first live ticketed show for that, which is crazy. Man, we just got so much cool stuff, so many cool things coming out of that particular thing. So very excited. Where am I on the Cowboys backfield? I like begrudgingly clicking both names and understanding that there's probably going to be a third guy added and being upset about it. James is going to the pub with his dad to laugh for a while later. That's special, man. Those are the times you're going to look back at, is stuff like that. So that's going to be a good day for you. Have fun with that, James. First here is grilling some meats on the grill. Sounds awesome. We are on the clock as I'm reading the chat. And I know I wanted Braylon Allen. That was a click that I wanted to make here. So we're going to highlight him. Slaughterhouse, unfortunately, took Kate Otten, who I wanted to grab as a tight end. But let's grab... Let's star Isaiah Likely here. Make sure there's not a wide receiver I want to grab. There isn't. Let's grab Likely. Maybe play around with that position a little bit later too. Doesn't Alvin Kamara as a Cowboy feel like it's coming? Not really. More so because of contract stuff. I don't know how they make that. How they make that work with their situation. And how New Orleans makes that work. But anything's possible at this point. If they can make it happen, sure. I wouldn't shock me. I guess it would shock me a little. I think a lot of hoops would have to be jumped through in order to make that happen. Yeah, this Kendre stuff though, if this news came out in a month, this Kendre jump would be insane. The whole Kamara holding out thing, but things are gonna hold a little steady. I think you're gonna see Kendre just like slowly creep up the board over the next few weeks. So trying to make sure I get some more Kendre. The more likely one is the one Versailles are saying is the Bears, Khalil Herbert stuff. And I've been drafting Herbert as well, just to make sure that I have some in case A, that happens, and B, even if it doesn't happen, I'm fine with Herbert on the Bears as well. $100% Adam. He was last year too. We were hoping that he would be something. Turned out not to be. But this, regardless of what you hear throughout Discord shows and everything, this is the time that we take our home run swings, man. Like we're gonna have so much more information in a month and a half that we can draft like with more knowledge edge. This is the time to be taking your cuts. Like, you know, we're just taking the swings. If you're drafting now, it's to take the swings, in my opinion. That's why I'm willing to start taking my different combos of players. I know that's not widely considered like the GTO thing to do. Thing to do in the industry right now, but I also think that the thought process behind that is wrong, because if I'm taking a combination of players at the end of the first round, like if I'm trying to get some unique combinations, the draft isn't stationary. Other places are moving around as well. So I'm looking at getting different combinations with different combinations of guys behind as well. I'm not just looking at that one combination. I'm saying I want to take Olave and Nico Collins on June 16th. Because even if they don't move, if I take that combination in a month, everything behind them is still going to be different. So my combination of Nico, Olave is going to be different a month later when I do it again, right? Because of what's going on the board behind them. All right, so we got a 2662 build going on. Coming up on our last two picks. Come on, Griffalicious. Griffalicious with the Devontae Walker pick, which we wanted to do. I do want Dawson Knox, so we're going to queue him up. Jones, Brooks, Robinson, Kendre, Ray Davis, Braylon Allen feels like a good running back room. Don't think we need to add to it. I do think I want a 7th wide receiver. If you try to tell me to draft Chase Claypool, you can burn in hell. I'm not doing it right now. I am going to really need to see something in order to make that happen. Look at that highlighted MVS. We love to see it. Don't really like any of this, to be honest. I don't even want to do it, but Rondell Moore actually makes the most sense for this team. So we will draft Rondell Moore on this Kirk Cousins team and hate ourselves. We'll run over the team real quick and then we'll jump into another BBM. Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins at QB. We got Aaron Jones. We got Jonathan Brooks, Brian Robinson, Kendre Miller, Ray Davis, and Braylon Allen. We have Olave, Nico, T. Higgins, Keon Coleman, Dontavian Wicks, Xavier Leggett, Rondell Moore, Kyle Pitts, Isaiah Likely, and Dawson Knox. So we do have a Buffalo stack with Allen, Ray Davis, Keon Coleman, and Dawson Knox with a Braylon Allen bring back. We ended up doing a Kirk Cousins, Kyle Pitts, Rondell Moore with a Brian Robinson bring back. We have Aaron Jones and Dontavian Wicks as a skinny. And we got a Carolina stack. And then we got Isaiah Likely with Nico Collins. So I think we did some really good drafting based on we weren't really looking to correlate overly. Like, I don't know if we even said week 17 stuff once while we were doing that draft, but we were able to make it happen. So let's jump into one more. Since we missed last week, let's do one more BBM. We need 3 people. So if you're looking to do a BBM draft, let's go ahead and let's knock out one more. And we'll see where we get placed for this one. We get the 108. Let's see who's in here that we know. Versier's in here. Anyone else in here? We got a mass hole in here. Welcome in to a Wow, that's a new username. If I don't win it, I hope they win it. So that Underdog has to announce that that's who won BBM. I think this is a bad thought process, Adam. You can kind of just make random clicks in round 17 and 18. I think you want to be deliberate about your round 17 and 18 picks, whether you're doing it from a correlation perspective, whether you're doing it from a stand perspective. If you have a 17th or 18th round pick that you really like, making sure that you're overweight on that player, I think you want to be very particular. So for those that can't read it, it is shrimp fried PU55Y. That's a good one as well, Pius. Which thought process are you talking about, James? Yeah, for sure, Adam. I think you can be deliberate about it, though, about what you're doing. Any advice for drafting on Underdog versus DK? Your quarterbacks don't get eaten up as fast on Underdog. So I know on a lot of DraftKings drafts, you have to be very deliberate about when you're going to be drafting your quarterbacks because people will just grab 3 for no reason at all, basically. Interesting that Saquon Barkley goes the 103 here. That is going to change up our draft quite a bit, which I'm all for. I'm all for chaos. We get Bijan going at the 106. Jefferson. So this is like the perfect spot for me to finally get Amon-Ra in this tournament, right? Where he falls to the 108 is where I want to be grabbing my Amon-Ra shares. Adam says last year he had his guys around 17 to 18, and it kept him off guys like Puka and Kyron, so randomly mixing them in. So, yes, but I think this goes to a bigger perspective. You didn't need to be on Kyron early or Puka early, but when we got the information on it is when you need to evaluate. So I think that you can have your guys in June, but understand that you need to be open to altering that thought process with new information, right? You're not going to play a poker hand the same you play a pre-flop once you see the bet-in patterns from your opponent and what they're doing on the flop and turn. You don't play the river the same way after you get that information, right? Most of the time. Sometimes it might reaffirm your priors, and then you can do that. So let's grab... Do we want Waddle here? Let's be boring. Let's do another Olave team just because my Amon-Ra exposure is going to be so low. Well, it's probably going to be between 4 and 8%. based on the way I'm going to be drafting Amon-Ra. So I won't have many Amon-Ra Olave opportunities. So let's just go ahead and do that. I know we don't like to draft the same players, you know, back-to-back drafts, but we're going to do it this week. James, what I think he's saying is that he just was he had blinders on to everybody else, is the way I interpret it. It wasn't a Kyra and a Puka thing being kept off of them. It's more he was on whoever his two guys were. And we're drafting players in a pool of, let's just say, 250 to 260 players that are scattered across 32 teams, varying levels of confidence on the offense. We're going to have blind spots throughout the entire draft. When Kyron and Puka pop, if you weren't on them, it's easier to see that blind spot later. Obviously, this is all, look back one-on-one stuff, but we also have blind spots early in drafts. Some of them are deliberate and some aren't. Eric brought up a great point when we were talking about drafters drafts the other day. I was talking about my alterations on the cumulative scoring was generally trying to hero from the Joe Mixon perspective on some teams and pulling up my drafts, my running backs around more so than I'm willing to do on DraftKings or Underdog. And he said, well, are you doing that with Isaiah Pacheco as well? And I said, no. And that was just a blind spot because as soon as he said it, I'm like, oh shit, I should be doing this with Pacheco as well. So that's what we need to be cognizant of. And that's why it's great to go in Discord or talk with people, because as long as you're open to discourse, right, you can find your blind spots and you can either reaffirm why you want it to be a blind spot, or somebody could say something and be like, oh, obviously I should be doing that as well. So these are the things that we just need to be open to. Right. You're always going to learn more talking to other people. Being open-minded. You will see people that have no open-mindedness at all. What they think is what they think, and be damned with everybody else's thoughts and opinions, no matter how compelling the argument is. Never be that guy. I will argue a point. And sometimes I'll even agree with somebody, but I'll argue it from the other side just to figure it out. Right? What are you going to do here, Versier? I was going to grab A-Chain if you didn't, but we're going to grab Kyron. We'll hero it with Kyron on this team. Fine with that. James is saying it's just for introspection to examine your approach to drafts and your adherence to either player stands or build concepts, etc. Completely agree. It's the same when I play poker and I remember hands that I won, but also hands that I lost. And sometimes hands that I lost, I'm like, well, I played that in a manner that I think I should have played it. And sometimes the worst hands you play are the ones that you win, but people don't always look back at that. People want to look back at their losses rather than their wins. So I think that's something you should be doing in best ball as well. Look at like players you were high on that you hit and understand what your thought process was for that, why it was successful, and implement that the following year. We try to look back at what we did wrong, and understandingly so. How can we get better? What can we improve on? But what did we do well that we can keep improving upon is just as important, in my opinion. Where are we going here, Biff? He grabs Trey McBride. Let's grab Kirk. What do I have him at in this tournament? 17%. Yeah, let's grab Kirk for now. And the choose your own adventure is really going to pick up in this 5th round on what we're going to end up doing. I mean, James, that is just like the ultimate cooler hand. I don't know what to tell you on that one other than ugh. It's a gross cooler. This I totally agree with Adam. You got to pick and choose your spots, even if everyone's in on something. So the two that stick out to me, I mean, the one obvious one for me is Rashad Penny last year, which I just was not going to get on by any means. I thought people were looking at that situation like very poorly. They weren't understanding what the team was doing once they traded for Swift, what their thought process was. I just thought that was he was egregiously priced. He was an egregious call. The upside was overly limited. The JSN one scared me. I wasn't on JSN like other people were. I came around to it a little bit because of outside perspective. And the other one was Darren Waller, which I thought was a bad pick. I started to get scared because of how much he was getting steamed at boards. I drafted him like once and I was like, no thanks, not doing that again. But that can so go the other way too, right? You can just completely go the other way. Yeah, Colin, it was a bit wild. That was a bit wild of a pick. I have a random Rashad Penny bet this year with somebody for $100. So Rashad Penny, the gift that keeps on giving, most likely. I understand not taking this one, Adam. Wicks. I like Wicks a lot, but I like the Green Bay offense, and it's actually the offense I was thinking about earlier today because of how much Wicks I have. I'm trying to get a piece of that Green Bay offense on the majority of my teams. My favorite to play it through, like this is the boring take, as I like Jaden Reed, which is interesting because he's kind of becoming a little polarizing. But I like Jaden Reed. I don't like Watson, but I'm going to force myself to start taking more Watson. And I'm not a huge Romeo Doubs guy, but I want to start taking a little more of him as well. Well, I'm playing it tremendously through Marshawn Lloyd. If you look at my Lloyd exposure when he pops up, is pretty good. So I kind of just want all the pieces of that Green Bay offense scattered throughout. I think it's something that I'm going to continue to do. But I think I'm going to lean into my favorites, which is Wicks and Reed. Intriguing. I have no CJ Stroud in this tournament. Wow. Come on, Versier. You're going to slow roll Anthony Richardson on me? I was actually going to grab him for this draft. That's fine. That's fine. What did we do here? Let's just grab Xavier Worthy because we have 29%, and why would we ever want to be under 30% on Xavier Worthy? So let's grab him. Lloyd is tied for your highest owned guy. Let me Let me see what I got going on for my highest owned players in the tournament. I'll just look at Best Ball Mania and we'll see. I don't want to take the draft off, so I'm just going to look it up on my phone very quickly. Let's filter the $25. Wow. I don't think you guys will guess my... You'd guess one of my two highest owned players, I bet. What's going on, Bindles? I have a running back and I have a wide receiver as my two highest owned right now in Best Ball Mania. I bet you guys can guess the wide receiver. I don't know if you'll guess the running back, though. I would not have guessed my running back. So there's that. Come on, Biff. Make your selection. All right, so not a guy that I'm in love with. Clearly, I have 0% of him in this tournament. But I don't think I want to be a stone fade on Calvin Ridley. So I think I'm going to start taking a little more of him. It's not my favorite pick. It's someone I'm going to have to evaluate throughout the offseason and see what I want to do with. But we'll take Calvin Ridley on this team. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Rasheen Ali is not the answer. Zach, I would have guessed that Charbonnet was my highest owned player, and he's not. But Zach, that is the guess I would have made as well. So the wide receiver, actually, I don't want to say the wide receiver yet, just in case he pops up and I want to get him. But we will. What's up, Trav? I have some Rasheen Ali. I'm not overweight on Rasheen Ali. He is a 18th rounder. I'm mixing in, especially on some Houston teams. Yeah, Ridley is a tough one. But I still don't want to be zeroed on him yet. So we'll grab some. Sutton is a wide receiver that I could have guessed for my highest owned wide receiver, but it is not Sutton. But he's got to be up there. Let's see. Wow, not as high as I thought. Where the hell is Sutton? Am I overlooking Sutton and BBM? Well, it's Gander. Oh, I only have that's weird. I only have one Sutton team in BBM right now. I know I've been clicking them a lot in other tournaments. So that's an interesting situation. Come on. RB is not Eli Mitchell. RB is Chase Brown. Is my highest owned running back right now. And Best Ball Mania. Oh, see, I disagree with this take, Pius. I think Sutton is actually overlooked in drafts. And I think in his range, he's one of the better clicks. To your point, depending on your build, I think he's tougher to do with a lot of the builds we like to do. But I think Sutton is a good pick in his range. But I think he's tougher on some of the 0 RB and hero RB stuff because you are looking to get RBs in that range. Rashee Rice was my highest owned wide receiver. That's who I thought you guys would have got that. All right, we are almost back on the clock here. Let's grab the last elite tight end. Elite tight end. Elite tight end. Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is an elite tight end. Evan Ingram is an elite tight end. I'm here to start the wars. I'm here to start the tight end wars. But I think Evan Ingram on this team makes sense. A guy that I've wanted to get more of, and I think this is the right team to do it on. What's going on, Tom? What's up, Billy? No, I'm putting it in the universe, Versier, because of the elite tight end talk this weekend that just got out of control. Trav has a ton. Did I know that Evan Ingram was 30 this year? It's fine. I think that we've proven that the tight end age isn't quite as much a cliff as it is for other positions. But if you guys want to clip me saying over and over that Evan Ingram is an elite tight end, Evan Ingram is an elite tight end, just don't send it to Hayden Winks. I don't think he could handle it today. I don't think he would be able to handle that situation. What do we got going on? Okay. So, I think... Look at Biff grabbing Cortland Sutton to make sure I don't get him. I think that's okay. I think we will grab... Let's grab Swift on this team. I'm going to grab Ramondre. Because I can, and you guys can't say anything about it. We got the Bauer stands coming out in the chat. Five table, the puppy or the Chihuahua? Or what is it, Chihuahua? Yeah, I was debating on... So I almost tried to fire... So last night was weird. I almost tried to fire like a bunch of drafts, and then at 9 o'clock, I went to bed. Just been running so hard. Got to go to New York tomorrow. My body was just like, you're going to sleep. Tom saying that elite tight end is overrated. Even the cat in your picture doesn't agree with your statement. Look at this cat. He's side-eyeing, looking down, understanding that what you said is just reprehensible. Like, that is like saying Voldemort at Hogwarts. You're saying elite tight end is overrated? Buddy, they are going to come for you, and I am sorry, and you better learn some spells. We get into too much Harry Potter talk. I love Ramondre this year, Tom. He is one of my favorite clicks on the board. I just think that we are going to see a heavy dose of Ramondre this year. So I am making sure that I get a decent clip. Same Pius. We are grabbing quite a bit of elite tight ends over here. It's nice getting 2 of these BBMs done. Yeah, this is Adam is saying that elite tight end was like rounds 1 to 3. Now the first tight end is drafted at the end of round 3. This is that crunch that I was talking about like a month or so ago with the onesie positions where the elites have come down, but the mid-range has come up. So you're kind of compacting the onesie positions between your elites and your mid to, lower mid range. So I think that's why I like the elites. It's just something has to give depending on your build, right? BKS is saying that Ingram is this year's Snape. You love him and you hate him until you realize you can't win without him. Fair. What do we want to do here? Probably wanted to grab Trey Benson, but Versier is just on top of things here. Versier is on top of things here. Let's grab Rashid Shaheed, shall we? Get a 6 wide receiver. Why not? I think the bye week police are going to come for me. Maybe we'll figure it out though. Disbanded Brotherhood jumped in and just wrote a period. So end of statement, I guess. See, Trav, this is my reverse right now. Is I have all the tight ends before Ingram, so Ingram has been a miss for me just based on that. It hasn't been an intentional fade. It's been more of a this is just a player I'm missing out on because I have so much Andrews, or take your pick. Not Laporta as much. We're going to grab Trevor Lawrence and complete this Jacksonville stack. Yes, we grabbed him over Brock Purdy. I'm okay with it. I agree with this statement from Adam. I try to make sure I grab a tight end through Goddard. Andrews has been my favorite. He's definitely my highest owned player overall. I don't want to say that for BBM because my BBM numbers look really weird. Well, I say that just because of Sutton. Like the Sutton number is egregiously low versus all the other drafts I've done. I'm not worried about fixing that stuff yet, though. That's going to be after the first 50. That's why I don't really know my numbers offhand too much because I'm a little behind. We're going to be at 28 after this one, but once we get to 50 drafts, that's when I'll start looking at the actual numbers on players and making sure that I'm getting who I want to get and at a healthy percentage of stuff. But if I love a player right now, guess what? Buckle up. We're going to draft the absolute shit out of him as I burp into the microphone. Billy is saying, was it just that Hayden said the term elite is overused? I think it's, if we really want to talk about it, it's just such a semantics argument that doesn't matter. Like, it should have just been a fun argument. I think people were getting too upset over it. Dude, if you think the elite tier runs through Dallas Goedert, awesome. Like, I don't care. You can have your definition for it. I will have my definition for where I think the elite range ends. It's just such a semantical argument that just like, okay, who cares? Who cares? You don't think that George Kittle's elite? I hope more people don't think George Kittle is elite. I don't need to have that argument. If that's going to lead to people thinking that George Kittle is not a good click on the board or something, thank you. This is actually wrong. Mazzone says that the elite tight end cutoff is Luke Musgrave. I would say it's Jatavian Sanders. So elite tight end runs through Jatavian Sanders. So take that how you will. Elite quarterback Derek Carr is the cutoff. Elite wide receiver is going to be Devontae Walker, and elite running back is Will Shipley. So there's your textbook definitions of elite players. Oh, it might be Daniel Bellinger. Oh, good point. It might actually be Michael Mayer as the cutoff. Speaking of cutoff, we are on the clock. with a 1-2-6-1 build. And boy, does it feel like a good time to grab Zach Charbonnet. Am I right? Am I right? Got to get that Charbonnet percentage up. Yeah, I'm grabbing me some Jatavian Sanders. Oh, I draw the line at Zach Ertz. I draw the line at Zach Ertz. Justice Hill, elite RB. Agreed. Agreed. If I was mean, I would start telling you to send your elite definitions to specific people, but I'm not a mean person. So don't do that. People would get very upset. I think this is actually a possibility that Jonnu, I don't know if he goes top 6, but I think he could be one of those guys that were like, obviously. Taysom Hill is S tier, but only on the right sites. Because Taysom Hill is a quarterback on Underdog, which is garbage, vomit-inducing. We are back on the clock in 2 picks, so 1-3-6-1 build. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? I don't want to do that. I was going to grab Goff, but we'll just let Goff go to some. We'll give him another home. We'll give Goff another home. Let's grab Marshawn Lloyd. Let's just grab players we like. That's what we're going to do with this draft. Let's just grab players that we enjoy. And make it make sense in the end. That's how we're going to play it. What do we like in baseball today? Does anyone have a baseball take for today? Let's see who I bet while we're waiting. Billy is saying you're from the South Shore, right? Your bachelor party was on the Cape this weekend? I am on the South Shore. I am in that area. Did you guys do anything fun? Where would you go through, or what did you do on the Cape for a bachelor party? Where did you go? I'm curious. Let me know. That's true, Trav. Only I need to like the story for the lineup build, and I need to finish the story, much in the way that Cody Rhodes finished the story at WrestleMania 40. We will finish the story on this draft by round 18. I have a friend from Falmouth, Adam. One of my good friends lived in Falmouth. His family owned a bunch of Dunkin' Donuts, so he got to do a lot of fun sports things because of that, which included going to a bunch of Super Bowls. Vaporware, Middleborough, East Bridgewater. I'll dox myself. I am from regular Bridgewater. Well, that's where I live. I guess I am technically from here too. But yes, I live in Bridgewater, so right down the street. Right down the street. I got a flat tire on Route 44, kid, the other night. Coming home from watching the Celtics get absolutely decimated at 11:30 at night. Flat tire, Route 44. Was able to get off an exit in Cava. Ever been to Cava? What's in your hat? I implore everyone to go watch the Drake May video. If you haven't seen the Drake May video, it is on my Twitter. Firing our second BBM draft of the morning. Currently with a 1461 build. Come on, Versier. Take the guy I want you to take so I don't have to take him. I know you're in the... You want to snipe all the players that I want. Snipe this one because I'm supposed to draft him for this team and I don't want to. So just take him for me. God damn it. The one time I need you to do something, Versier, you can't do it. I have to take Ricky Pearsall on this team. Can I talk myself out of taking Ricky Pearsall? There's got to be a way to not do it. I really don't want to. Ugh. He just makes too much sense for the team. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't want to take Ricky Pearsall. This day is ruined. Great Father's Day. Oh, Treehouse Brewery, the Beachcomber. Oh, we got a big house with a yard. Yeah, that makes sense. That seems to be a good way to do the Cape for a bachelor party. Very cool. Our show, our live show for Hometown Ghost Stories in October is actually at a brewery. So that's pretty cool. We'll be doing a live show at a brewery. Fair enough, Versier. Fair enough. Oh my God, I'll trade you, Colin. Let's make a trade. You can have them. All yours. All right, Biff. Don't you do it. Don't you snipe me on this guy. We're going to take Bucky Irving as our fifth running back. Oh, Kevin, I completely agree with this sentiment. If I went into the season with 0 Ricky Pearsall, I was going to be fine with it. He just happened to fit the team too well that I couldn't not take him as the 7th wide receiver. But yeah, I just what is that? Why are you popping things up on my screen? Relax, Microsoft Windows. I'm getting elderly. You can't just start throwing shit on my screen. You know how old I am? So old that you can't just have some random shit popping across this. I know you guys didn't see it, thank God. But it was like news, like a news blurb. Back in my day, we went to the store and we put 25 cents in a machine and we opened it up. And you were supposed to be honorary and only grab one newspaper. Didn't just pop up across your stream. I just probably talked about a machine that half of you had never even seen in your life. Next week on Sunday Sickos, we'll talk about payphones. Yeah, I know that there's like stories to tell yourself about Ricky Pearsall. It's like a woulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, maybe type thing. That's right, Anthony. I didn't know about those buy one, get one papers. Good times. Good times. Oh, so for baseball today, we are betting on, where is it? The Cubs, Phillies, and Braves. Usually I have a run line on, but not today. So that is my parlay for baseball today. I know you guys were desperately wondering what my baseball bets were today. I know you were waiting till this second draft, sitting here on the edge of your seats like, who is Rob betting on in MLB today? Well, now you have it. We almost paid for all of our best ball entries yesterday. The goddamn Padres would have just won. Still made money, but Padres winning, I would have won $3K. Now you're getting bad beat stories. This is what happens when you make me do 2 drafts. You start getting betting bad beat stories. I won money, but I should have won more. Yeah, this is concerning that he's not picking up pass blocking right now, Pius. But the Bucky Bowl case is just opportunity, right? It just feels like they don't want to give Rachaad White as much opportunity, and there's a piece of the pie to come in and take. That's why he's still a 14th round click, but get some volume. So that's what we're looking at with him. This Senate price has really come back down, huh? That's not who I want here, though. What do I want to do here is the question. Braylon again. Braylon again. Let's do Braylon Allen. And let's start figuring out what we want to do at some of these other positions. Okay. I have consulted the Oracle and I've decided what I want to do. So I have a very specific outcome that I need for this draft, but I think I know my next 3 picks after looking at my team. We're going to try it. I can't promise it's going to work. One of you assholes is probably going to ruin it. But don't ruin it for me. Don't you ruin this for me. My trust level in you guys is minimal. Especially you, Versaire. I see you over there. I know you're going to snipe some stuff that I want. All right, so we're going to grab Derek Carr. Is play number 1? Actually, let's build it this way. This kind of... I'm going to shut up, but we're going to grab Bryce Young. We're going to look at Versier's team to see if he's going to ruin our shit, which he might. But that's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm just going to keep saying this all day. I'm okay with it. We're going to be okay. We're going to get through this. We're going to collectively sigh. We're going to breathe. We're going to take deep breaths. It's Father's Day. I have a flat tire. Yeah. Oh no, I ruined Versier's. That wasn't the one disbanded. We weren't going there, but I made a pivot. I made a specific pivot. A mental pivot. And I actually ended up ruining Versier's draft because it looks like he had Leggett and Chuba. So, and Deontay Johnson. I didn't even realize. I actually do apologize. I actually do feel like an asshole. Kind of. but I didn't know. All will be revealed, Adam. All will be revealed on what I'm trying to do here. Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna take any of your guys, right, this would be the guy you'd be like, whatevs, right? I'm really trying to thread some needles here, though, is what I will say. This could all blow up in my face completely. I feel like we got the right song as we anticipate this 17th round pick. Just will he get there? Will he get to do what he wants to do with this particular team? Or will Glass-Eyed Joe swoop in and take the player that he wants in classic Glass-Eyed Joe manner? No, he takes Derek Carr, though, which I was trying to push to the 18th round, which I thought we might be able to. I'm fine with not getting Carr. It's not a huge deal to me. It wasn't like a necessity. But I knew to get the two players I wanted, Carr would have to push to the 18th. Don't you fucking do it, Versaire. I will find where you live. All right. We're going to grab Jatavian Sanders now. That's going to be tight end number 2. So the game plan was Bryce Young, Sanders, Derek Carr was the way I wanted to play it. I think we can do a 3 QB build with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think we have to. You guys like that Justin Fields exposure at 33%? Versaire, you know I love you. You know this is what I do, is threaten people. Let's just Jacksonville mega it and grab Tank Bigsby here to do a 2-7-7-2 build. So we have Trevor Lawrence and Bryce Young at QB, Kyron, Ramondre, Zach Charbonnet, Marshawn Lloyd, Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen, Tank Bigsby. I don't think we need a tank on this team, especially anchoring it with Kyron as a hero, but, you know, whatevs. Amon-Ra, Chris Olave, Christian Kirk, Xavier Worthy, Calvin Ridley, Rashid Shaheed, Ricky Pearsall, Evan Ingram, and Jatavian Sanders. I'm fine with... I think that tank pick could have been a QB if I wanted to do unstacked fields. I think it could have also been a tight end if I wanted to do, you know, like a Jonnu or something, or a Chig, whatever. I think it really was the definition of a luxury pick. And I think we just make this huge Jacksonville stand on this particular team. We got our bring back. I'm fine with it. I don't love having 7 running backs when I have Kyron. But I think this team's fun. I think it's balanced enough. The onesies feel slightly thin. Ingram, I'm fine with having 2 tight ends still, especially when we're betting on upside on Jatavian Sanders. Why not Levis with Ridley instead? Because I don't want to do the double. I certain games I'm okay doing the double quarterback with, but that Jacksonville Tennessee game could go a certain way that I just don't want to do that. But it could have added Chig more than adding Levis. If I was doing Levis, I probably would have made it a 3 quarterback team for sure. I don't think it's bad in theory by any means, but yeah, I particularly didn't love it for this team. If I didn't have Trevor Lawrence, for sure. So just week 17, I want access to multiple games through my stacks. So I would have had to make that a 3 quarterback team. But I hope everyone enjoys their Father's Day. I'm glad we got to do 2 of these drafts, get me a little more caught up. We will, I'll be here next week. We'll catch you next week. Later, guys. Peace.
1. Liftoff.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.